Welcome to this series on conscious discipline, and today we're going to talk about connection, which is my absolute favorite part of conscious discipline. If you've been hanging out with us for a little bit, you'll know that we talked about the brain states, with the first one being that red zone and that survival, fight or flight, and that the kids' question they're answering in that stage, or us as adults, is, am I safe? And then when we move up to the next state, it's that blue state, and it's that emotional state that we experience and our kids experience, where we see lots of big emotions spilling out. And in this state, kids are asking, am I loved? And the answer to that question, the way we can show them, is through connection. And it's interesting, we talk a lot about kids who are just seeking attention and attention-seeking behaviors. And a lot of times kids have traded out seeking attention because of or due to a lack of connection. And so trying to be preventative and keep kids from having to seek out that connection, we are going to really look at how can we build in that connection in a routine, predictable way so that kids don't have to seek it out in any way possible. And the way that conscious discipline breaks down connection is an activity that includes eye contact, presence, touch, and playfulness. And any activity that combines those four characteristics in the play that we have with our kids. So it can even just be roughhousing with our kids. It can be throwing them up in the air and tickling, peekaboo, things that we do very naturally and play with kids. But our crazy lives right now and the distractions of screens and different things have really cut down on, and busy schedules have cut down on how often we're able to do these intentionally with our kids sometimes, especially if we're not operating in our own green state. Anytime we start getting in a hurry or overscheduled or stressed, this can be one of the first things to go. And it's really the brain food for our kids while this really important brain development is happening in these birth to 3 years. And so the key component is this connection. It's how they learn, it's how they grow. And so we want to make sure we're really intentional about it. So we will be talking today and in your home visits about building this in through our I love you rituals. Many of you have already maybe received an I love you ritual ring with different cards on it from your parent educator already this year. And they probably have already talked to you about how to incorporate these. We look at certain mindful moments throughout the day that they can be really impactful. And if we build them into normal routines, so it's not adding one more thing, that's helpful. So wake up times, meal time, diapering that we already have to do, anytime that we are getting ready to separate or come back together. So whether it's a babysitter or daycare, and then bedtime, that's a really key part of the day. And so finding one of these I love you rituals that really works for you and your child, or using one of your own rhymes or songs that you remember from your upbringing, or maybe from a favorite book or song that your child likes, anything that you do that adds those four components. So taking any song or rhyme that you know and adding eye contact, your presence, making it playful, and then that touch. Our kids need that touch. It's like, again, brain food for them. And so you can make it look like however you want. So whether you borrow one of ours or and make it your own or create one altogether, that's awesome. The other thing we're going to do this month is walk through baby doll circle time with you. And this is an activity that can be done with a stuffed animal or Lovey or a baby doll. And it's basically, because we can't always be with our kids, another way that we can build these into our kids is by doing them with a baby doll. Maybe we have a stuffed animal and they have their doll, or vice versa. And we are going to practice doing it with them and then doing it with our doll and then having them do it with their doll. This would be for our kiddos who are maybe 12 to 18 months and up. Probably not for our little bitties. And then what is magical is we will see them doing these with their baby doll or stuffed animal on their own when we're not there, or even with other kids or care providers. And this allows that experience and connecting to go on even during those times of separation for us. And it also really helps build and create empathy within our kids, and helps them, again, with cooperation, willingness, optimal brain development. All of that's happening through really simple play, and we want to make it as scripted and easy for you as possible. I know open-ended pretend play with kids can be really hard for some of us, and our brains just don't live in that mode most of the time anymore. So the easier we can make it so that it can become, again, part of your routine and predictable for you. If we see really big blue brain state behaviors from our kids, so this is lashing out with words, tantruming before it becomes really visceral and the red zone, remembering to pause, take that deep breath, and really become aware that what has probably been missing is that connection point in the day for them. And so if there are periods of time of the day that we tend to rush through, if we can plan ahead and think through how can I fill their little cup first, and again, do it preventatively so that it's always full. So we're pausing throughout the day to have these little moments of connection where they're getting our full presence, our eye contact, our playfulness. If we build those in predictably throughout the day and maybe have 1 or 2 times where we really sit down for 5 to 10 minutes at a time playing with them and building that connection, attuning with them, it really will help to cut down on those times where they're really needing to seek that attention. And so we like to say that connection breeds cooperation. You'll see that several different ways on the handout that we talk about with connection, whether it's connection leads to cooperation, or connection precedes cooperation, or connection breeds cooperation. Basically, all of that is to say, if your child is not cooperating, they're acting really defiant, they're really hard to get to willingly go along with things, a lot of times it's because there's a breakdown in the connection. We don't have to do the connection piece perfectly all the time. All we have to do is be able to recognize, oh, I wonder if there is a break in our connection and I need to repair that. And that repair work is so important. And thankfully, our kids are super resilient at this age and are usually really willing to do that repair work with us and to welcome us back in. And so if we can pause, take a deep breath, and once they're calm, rebuild that connection, and then focus on that as we go forward, it's really helpful. So enjoy playing this month with Baby Doll Circle Time for incorporating your own or some of our I love you rituals, and talk more with your parent educator about other ways that you can build connection with your child.